Welcome to IBM Support TV, where we answer questions and share technical support information, hints, and tips on IBM products.
Process Portal Audit History Modeling and Testing in Process Designer.
Hello, my name is Sergio Arizpe. I work with IBM Technical Support on the BPM team, and today I wanted to talk about the audit history. As you can see in Process Portal, it's a very simple model to show actual audit history in a working Process Portal environment. And let me just show you real quick exactly what I'm talking about. Just a quick taste. As you can see here, I'm tracking two variables, a BPD integer and a string. And in this case, I had instantiated the integer with 99 as a default value, and I changed it to 10 and then to 20. I had hello world as a default value for the string. Then I changed it to 10 in characters, like letters, and 20 similarly. I'll show you exactly how I set this up. If you'd like more information, please hang on and I'll walk right through this. So going to the web process designer. Unfortunately, I wasn't already logged in. That should take but more than a second. Come in and show my product BPD. So this audit history is based on BPD data. As you can see, it's a very simple BPD. Basically, I have a coach and I just made copies of it here. That way I could change the data inside of this BPD without going to different levels and test my audit history tracking. The simplest test I could think of just for functionality. First and foremost, I need to share with you the variables. Again, I'm trying to track the string and an integer. In this case, I call it BPDS and BPDI for business process definition string and integer. If I click into this, you can see here I'm tracking this variable, and as mentioned before, I had a default value by checking this checkbox, put in a default value just for my testing purposes. I did this, and of course, it's subtype string. Similarly for the integer piece, 99, track this variable, it's a type integer, has default. One more thing about tracking here, I enabled tracking group, auto tracking, so that way I wouldn't have to create manual tracking groups. It creates this auto tracking name for me of AT156X66 and adds these auto tracked fields. So just for instance, if I unchecked the string field, it would be removed from this auto tracked field. So let me go back and do that for you just so you can see. I unchecked this variable, it's no longer being tracked. And in here I confirmed by not seeing it being tracked. So we go back in and change it back because we want this test to be successful. Again, tracking that variable, it's automatically placed in my auto tracked fields here. So how did I build this BPD? So let's go into this really quick. I had to build a coach because I wanted users to basically provide input to be tracked. Right? Again, this is just a very simple test. So I created two fields, a text field and an integer field. The most important thing about this text field is I actually bound it to a output string that was defined for this specific coach. So for this specific coach, I have two outputs. I have a coach output string. It's a string, right? Nothing special about it. And other than it's a variable type string and integer, a variable type integer. I'm trying to pass these values up a level into my BPD. Right? So to pass these values, I first have to capture them. And this is the location where I capture these values. I got this text box from here. So if you wanted a text box, for instance, you can have all kinds of text stuff. I believe I picked this one, just drag it and dropped it in here, named it, clicked into it, and most importantly, again, selected what I wanted to bind it to. Right? So here, do the same thing. Select what I want to bind it to. I want to bind it to this integer to pass it to the BPD. Other than that, there's nothing special about this coach. So I'll go ahead and close that view and go back to my BPD. So how do I pass those values from the coach up a level into the BPD? I use this thing called data mapping. And I have to actually click on something to see the data mapping. So I'm trying to data map the coach output string to the BPD string, and the coach output integer to the BPD integer. Right? And I'm doing the exact same thing for all 3 copies. So how did I actually create those copies though? Just very super quick. And so the coach I had created, I come, drag, drop it in. Right? I'm just going to copy it, paste it, Control V, right? Shortcut, hook it up together, do the data mapping. Right? Data mapping here, data mapping here. I'm not actually going to do it, but I mean, see how it's very easily done. Since I only had 2 variables in this, the more variables, a little bit more complicated it becomes, but as long as you understand what your model is doing and where things you want to be tracked, it should be fairly easy. I'm going to go ahead and delete this stuff because I really don't need it for this example. And I believe the last thing I have to do here is, because I was playing with some of this tracking stuff, I have to go back to the process app settings. And you'll always see this available in this drop down. So if you have a bunch of things open, just go to the drop down, look for the process app settings, and click on this update tracking definitions. If you do not do this update tracking definitions and you try to look at it in the audit history, I'm sure you'll get an error saying you should send your update. You should update your tracking definitions, things of this nature, to see things. I'll simply go back into my process model and run a quick test. Just to show you how I've been testing this, so I'm in the process designer view right now. And over here, you can see there's a run button, so I can run an instance of this BPD. Go ahead and run it. Okay, so I should have initialized my BPD with hello world at 99, and that's true. And I'm at this coach task, as you can see, first task in the model. Go ahead and run it. I can debug it, but it's so simple, I'm just going to run it. All right, I'm going to show my 2 text fields. So in this case, I will put 1 and 1. Okay. Close this window out. My BPD string changed to the value I had just input, and the integer changed the value to what I'm expecting as well. I need to see the process portal. So one easy way to do that is clicking on that little sucker. I can show you again in a second. So I'm just going to go into this work tab here and come with details and see if my history has been updated. Select the variable, show all. So I did type in 1, for the integer was 1. And we could just continue testing at this point if you'd like. So I'm going to go ahead and continue my testing process. Instead of testing in Web Process Designer, I'm going to continue this test here in the process portal. So I'm just going to launch the next step. Right. As you can see, the GUI changed a little bit now that it's in process portal. It's still taking up the whole screen. So not a big deal. Go ahead and just put any information I want. In this case, I'm going to second try. So this is text 2, and the integer is going to be actual numerical value 2. All right. I'm sure this has changed. Sometimes it's not so fast, so I am hoping this reflects that change very quickly. If not, I'm probably going to have to refresh. And I am going to have to refresh. Okay. So sometimes you have to be a little patient with this. Well, that's okay. Let's try it again now. So you should see the changes I created with the 2 value. There's a 2 value for the string, a 2 value for the integer. Let's take a closer look here. Integer 1 and 2. This started as 99. You saw me change it to 1 and 2. The string is started with hello world, and then 1 typed, 2 typed. For my case, you can do show all since I only have 2 variables. If you had probably like 10 or something like that, you probably wouldn't want to use this. It can be a little confusing or daunting. So you would probably want to come in and just show this individually. Other than that, I believe that's all I wanted to share with you today.
Thanks for watching this episode of IBM Support TV. Please leave a comment with topics you would like to see in future episodes. Until then, stay tuned.